So let's provide a little more information for those who've just watched your Kickstarter video. What sets your program apart from other poverty alleviation programs?
Well, the thing about University Without Borders and Human-Centered Development 101 is that it's really in a category all in of its own. Most of the programs we have are designed to carry out, to do actual community development work. And we decided when we were starting this organization to actually stand as an industry support type of a role rather than a practitioner role. So that allows us to sit back and actually think about the tens of thousands of organizations that are doing community development work and create training and education material for them so that their volunteers and their staff can actually do what they do better. So our organization has a huge leverage point because as we're able to get the funding that we're looking for and build our products and market those effectively worldwide, then we'll be able to help tens of thousands of organizations actually enhance the quality of the work that they're able to do so that projects worldwide can start to do a better and better job at actually helping impoverished community members to meet their needs.
Can you tell us a little more about your product, Human-Centered Development 101?
Yeah, there's kind of two schools of thought within international development work, and a lot of this might go underneath the radar. People might not even actually recognize it. And the first one, which is the traditional approach, which is definitely the mainstream, which is when we look at a community that has needs. Part of those needs are the community members need certain things, maybe access to water, food, clothing, shelter, medical attention, whatever. And we have one of two options as a support agent. The first is to be able to come in and provide the things and stuff that people need. The second is actually to focus our effort on education and training so that we can add value to the community members so that now they're more prepared to actually go out and get the things and stuff they need on their own. When we follow the first approach, there's a whole bunch of ways that we could go wrong. First of all, we're going to reinforce a poverty mindset by coming in and saying, oh, you're so poor that you need us from another part of the world to come in and save you. That negative mindset can have all kinds of ramifications. Second, we can actually undermine local markets. If people are there, they're buying food from local farms. That's how they're sustaining themselves. And we come in, we determine that they're on the brink of survival and we've got to come and save them. We start shipping in tons of corn or wheat or whatever for free. Well, what do you think that happens to the local farmers? They actually can't sell their material anymore and they go out of business. And so we can have a really substantial negative impact on local economies and local communities if we go about distributing things in the wrong way. Human-Centered Development 101 teaches people how to carry out that second approach. So it teaches people why we want to focus on the human beings as the center of our development efforts, train them, add value to them, build their capacities, so that rather than us need to bring in food, we can actually just train farmers to become better at producing their own food and then serve their own needs. So it's the first thing really that, as far as a video education product, that's designed to teach people about this second, arguably much more effective methodology of poverty alleviation work.
I see. So what are the primary objectives of the training program?
Well, one of the main ones is really just a paradigm shift. So we want people that go through Human-Centered Development 101 to recognize the pitfalls of that traditional approach of just giving things away and building stuff for people. And we want them to be reoriented towards this new approach of, you know, the kind of cliche saying, we want to be able to teach people how to fish rather than just giving them fish. So we want people to really aggressively reorient their paradigm around community development work. And then once that's effectively done through the training program, we want to make sure they've got all of the background information and understand the fundamental principles that make human-centered development projects effective, so that they are then more prepared to work with an organization that's doing this type of work. Just by going through Human-Centered Development 101, they're not going to be ready to go out and start their own programs. but as a volunteer with another program, they'll be much more effective in the work that they do. And if someone who runs an organization that's been doing this type of work for years watches this training, then they'll be able to sharpen their sword and learn from the best authors and thought leaders within this space on how to do what they do better. So we just want people to be more effective as they go out and more oriented towards this type of program, and actually know when they're on the ground what questions they should ask, what steps they should do, and how they should go about carrying out human-centered development.
Okay. Who are the main people you expect to utilize this training?
Well, there's a pretty broad audience that we want the training to become available to. I think that the most people that are going to use it are in the undergraduate, graduate student type level in college. They might be interested in international service. It might be part of their school curriculum for them to actually spend a semester overseas. And we really want educational institutions to take seriously the fact that they're sending students overseas to do community development work. And we'd like for educational institutions like universities to maybe encourage their students to actually get trained on the front end, so that they actually, because a student's going to go out as an ambassador of that school, and so the quality of the work that that student might do overseas and or the problems that they might cause as an untrained volunteer are actually going to reflect upon that educational institution. So we'd like to see students all over the world utilizing this program. Again, I mentioned that there's people that run organizations that I hope will also be able to learn from this content so that they can be more effective at running those types of programs. And then we have a whole retiree category, people that are retiring that want to give back. They want to spend a couple years overseas, maybe in the Peace Corps or something else. And a lot of them, they might be skeptical around international development because they've heard a lot about the inefficiencies or the ineffectiveness of some programs. And so they're really anxious to make sure that if they're going to leave their kids or their grandkids and go overseas for a couple years, that they're actually going to make some real positive impact. So we hope that they find a deep desire to learn from this type of content and, again, as I mentioned before, like orient themselves for success.
Okay. What has been your experience in taking people through this training so far?
So we've done human-centered development through live workshops so far, and it's been awesome. We've had just raving reviews about how it's been able to accomplish both the things I mentioned before. People have reoriented their paradigms towards what effective community development work really should look like, and they've also been able to walk away with the knowledge to look at the community development efforts they're involved with. So we've seen students, we've seen people that run volunteer placement organizations, we've seen people that run international development projects for organizations like Engineers Without Borders. We've seen just interested community members who want to better understand the global environment all go through this and report that they're shifting things that they thought they were going to do. They're going to now volunteer for this organization rather than this organization because they understand the difference in approaches. Or they're actually going to rewrite the way that they were going to carry out their program because we want to make sure that it's more human-centered. Or they're going to scrap one model entirely and recreate their organization from scratch because of this content. We've seen all of that stuff from people that have gone through this training in the past. Now that it's going to be available through videos, we can now scale the quantity of people that are going to have access to it, and I'd love to see those conversations happening by the hundreds and by the thousands worldwide.